I don't know what he's going to do, but he's the play caller, really.
Oh, he is, yeah.
Kiffin will jump in occasionally and call the plays, but Charlie Weiss Jr. is the play caller there. A lot of people don't know that.
Everybody's got an opinion on who was wrong here to take Ole Miss away, to not let him coach in that. My opinion is very strong, and that there's no way I would let him coach my team.
Because it was a lateral move.
Yeah.
But that's like the Tulane AD. He's not going to tell John Summerall you can't coach in the playoffs, and because it really is a different situation.
Yeah.
I think everybody realizes that. In fact, Billy Napier actually had a championship game.
He did.
After we hired him. So, but it looked like a lateral move for Lane Kiffin to go to LSU.
Yeah, if the money's the same, it is a lateral move.
It's a lateral move. And,
Another Dooley Noted podcast comes to you from the Coach's Podcast Room at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill in Celebration Point. Okay, welcome in to another Dooley Noted podcast presented by Titan MRI and Imaging, coming to you from the Meldon Law Gator Studios. Always great to be doing a show. It's especially great to be doing a show today because today is just a few days removed, is the word I'm trying to find, removed from Florida beating the crap out of FSU and Florida getting its football coach. Now, some of you are in a state of denial or whatever you want to talk about. We'll talk about that in a minute, but the bottom line is we at least know what's going on now. And I'm looking forward to the press conference today. Ought to be a lot of fun. From what I understand, Coach Meyer and Coach Spurrier, the national championship coaches, are both going to be there. It's rumors I heard anyway. And we'll have Coach Spurrier on here a little bit later. Of course, Robbie Andrew will join us for Yes, No, Where. Maybe on Thursday, Dan Wetzel from ESPN, the writer, he writes the columns for them, and he's really one of my favorite writers and really knows what he's talking about. We'll get to him about all the coaching carousel, which has been, we knew it was a big deal when all these coaches started opening up. Remember, what was Pittman the first guy fired? I'm trying to remember who the first college big-name coach that got fired was. But anyway, there's been a lot of them. And most of them have been replaced, not all of them yet. So we'll see what happens. And then Coach Spurrier next Monday, and then I think it's going to be Drew Copeland on the following Thursday when we'll do our picks for the games, and we'll talk about what's going on here. We do that every year for Christmas and the playoffs, too. The playoffs are a big deal. And we don't have a Florida Bowl game to pick this year, so we'll be fine with that. All right, let's get to our Royal Blue starting five. It is brought to you by my friend Randy Royal at Royal Blue Yacht Sales. We had several text messages going back and forth, multiple, I would say. Look, and let's just start off with number one, okay, on the Royal Blue starting five. And that is, I'm gonna start with the football game, and then I'll get to all the other stuff. Okay, all right. I want to start with the football game, which was Florida beating the crap out of FSU, and I enjoyed it, and that was great. Okay, it was a great way for those guys to go out. It's great for Billy Gonzalez to be able to get a win. It was an electric night in the swamp, no doubt about that, and we all know what Jaden Baugh did. It was ridiculous how good he was. The 266 yards. The 316 game, which is Emmitt Smith, which is still the record. And if it wasn't surpassed in this game, it'll never be surpassed. I was at that game, believe it or not. They played New Mexico on homecoming and won 27-21. And my recollection is that Chris Collinsworth ran back a kickoff for a touchdown, but I may be wrong about that. It may have been against Tulsa, but it was against one of those teams. Anyway, yeah, so Emmitt had to carry the ball a million times then. But, hey, look, it was a great way to finish. It's still a bad season. Nobody's going to feel any better about it. Everybody's still going to always talk about you're as stubborn as Billy Napier. That's going to be the new catchphrase when somebody won't do something. You say, hey, you should try mashed potatoes. I don't like mashed potatoes. You're as stubborn as Billy Napier. That's going to be that. I'm inventing that. Okay. Anyway, but it was a great way to end the season. I will tell you this: if Billy Napier was still the coach, Jaden Baugh wouldn't have gotten 1,000 yards because he would have divvied up those carries. Sometimes you got to ride the horse, and especially in the last game, and that was a good move. Other guys played really well. Sturdivant, I thought, had his best game, really, as a Gator. Miles Graham, got to keep him, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But it was just fun, and I want to start off with something with these players doing what they did and making me happy for one Saturday and having bragging rights for the year. That was fun. That was a lot of fun. I am looking forward to the quarterback club Tuesday night because they have to give us the trophy, or we get to keep the trophy, I guess. They have a deal with the quarterback club over there. All right. So let's get to number 2, which is Florida has a new football coach, and his name is John Sumrall. And there, of course, has been a lot of gnashing of teeth. I have been talking people off the ledge for really 2 days. But I know that it's the vocal people that respond to things like this. Look, Lane Kiffin told people here he was coming, but I don't think he ever was coming. I think he was just trying to use Florida, and then the LSU thing became more intriguing. Yes. Would he have gone from Ole Miss to Florida? Absolutely. When LSU was open, that changed things, and that's what happened. There was a lot of, I've seen a million stories, a million rumors, and one of the big rumors I keep hearing is that he did not want to hire a GM, and yet he took his GM from Ole Miss to Baton Rouge. Maybe he wanted, I don't understand. That's why everything you've heard is probably wrong. Somewhere in there, there's truth. Eventually, we'll get it. We'll probably get a little bit of it today at 3:45. But the bottom line is, let it go. Let it go. Look, you had 24 hours to be really angry about it. And if you were angry about it, you're angry about it. If you haven't seen, and I wanted Lane Kiffin. I wanted Florida to get Lane Kiffin. I was very disappointed, right? But I got over it. Because Lane Kiffin's shown his ass over the last 2 days. And that's the bottom line. I think they're going to be fine. I think Sumrall's a good coach. I think everybody's going to want to say he's another Billy Napier. And I think they're so far different in personality. But you can line up the stats, and they are very similar. But this guy's got a chance to get in the playoffs. And Florida's done the right thing, and his AD has done the right thing, and it's going to allow him to coach. And I'm sure we'll talk to Coach Spurrier about it, but I'm sure he feels the same way I do. Tulane and Ole Miss are not the same building. They're not even close. So we'll see. Dave Caldwell is going to be the GM. My first reaction was, wow, that seems – I don't remember liking Dave Caldwell when he was – in Jacksonville and the moves he made. I called around on it, and I never met the guy, okay? Everything I was told by people who covered that team, they love Dave Caldwell. Dave Caldwell still lives in Jack's Beach. And so they know him, and they see him, and they talk to him. I know Mark Long is very close to him, for example. So there are going to be a lot of people that are going to be very happy when he comes on board. Look, all the deets on all this stuff. In the old days, when I was the columnist at the Gainesville Sun, the AD would sit down after the coaching search and spell it out. The one the 65-inch story I wrote was about Jeremy Foley on Urban Meyer and how that went down. He gave me details out the butt. I couldn't even get them all in. It's kind of changed a little bit. I don't feel like I'm getting all the information. I don't know that I would, even bother anymore. But if Scott Strickland wants to sit down with me and give me all the details and straighten things out, and let me know what happened, I'd love to do it. I don't think that's going to happen, though, because this has been a very sensitive situation, and it's still sensitive, and it's still a raw nerve for a lot of Gator fans. And look, I get that, okay? I get all of those feelings that you guys have. You wanted Lane Kiffin, okay? I get it. I wanted Lane Kiffin. He didn't want to come. It's his decision. You want to blame the AD? Go ahead. He's been blamed for everything. He's been blamed for everything that goes wrong here. And I get that. That's part of the job. That's part of his big salary. That's part of his getting his extension. And he knows it. And that's fine. But at some point, you got to put everything aside and support what is going forward. You go, well, I don't want to support it because Scott Strickland's still the AD. Okay, don't go to the games then. You want to show your that you don't support it, don't go to the games. Well, most people that are very vocal about this don't go to the games. So that's fine. But the bottom line is people showed up to watch Billy Gonzalez coach a team, okay? They sold out every game when Billy Gonzalez was coaching the team. So people are going to show up. The Gator Nation is back. And I, look, don't ruin it right here, okay? It's not a good look the way some fans reacted to this. We'll find out if it works out. I hope it does. All right, let's get to number 3 on our Royal Blue starting 5. And that is that Kiffin is getting killed by a lot of people. Pat Forty's column was really good. He was talking about how he's still the oiliest coach in college football, and he's shown that again. And there are a lot of people killing him. But you know who's not killing him? LSU people. They're in love with him. And of course they are. They won the Derby. They got but only Lane Kiffin could be the best looking person in a room, and everybody hates him after he picks somebody. He's the only guy who could turn this into a negative, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And it has become a negative. Nobody's buying a lot of the things he's saying. And the fact that he's blaming the AD for not letting him coach, I wouldn't let him coach either. That's my opinion. And again, I'm not saying I'm right. I'm just saying my opinion is there's no way I would want him coaching my team. He'd get booed in that first home game. It's all about Lane. Don't ever forget that. And that's the bottom line. It's all about him. It's never been about Ole Miss. It's only and rating his staff like this, telling guys they had to get on the plane or they weren't going to have a job. That goes back to Saban, who basically nobody followed him to LSU when he went down there. Saban kind of ran this thing. Saban, I think, helped guide him to LSU. And I think, I'm not saying that he doesn't like Florida. I think he knows the LSU job and how good that job is. And like I said, I think it's a little bit better. Just a little bit. But, it's like percentage points. Me, I'd rather coach at Florida. Anyway, I don't know. I'm going off on a lot of tangents here. By the way, LSU making their Coach Pete Golding their permanent coach, they say. And this feels a lot like what Mississippi State did when they made their defensive coordinator their permanent coach and then fired him after a year. You could well see that happen. When those people go to these games, and who are they going to get for offensive coordinator? I don't know. That's going to be an interesting dynamic. Who wants to come in and follow Lane Kiffin and Charlie Weiss Jr.? I don't know. It's just crazy. It's the craziest, and that gets us to number 4 on our Royal Blue starting 5, and that is this coaching cycle, which has been so bizarre, just keeps getting weirder and weirder. Today, Mark Stoops gets canceled. $38 million buyout. They pay it. First time since '98 that a Stoops won't be a head coach. And we'll talk to Coach Spurrier and to Robbie Andrew, too, about that. But Golish goes to Auburn, which a lot of people thought was going to happen. Silverfeld goes to Arkansas, which I'm sure that and I was thinking this during the game the other day, I guarantee you all the SEC officials are like, thank God you didn't keep Petrino. Because, it's just a barrage of F-bombs constantly going at these officials and spitting and just, oh, my gosh. He's just not a good person, and I'm glad he's not getting that job. He'll get a job somewhere. He'll be working somewhere. Somebody's had to put up with him. Michigan State is now open, but apparently they're getting ready to hire Pat Fitzgerald. It could have already happened. They took a $31 million hit. And Coastal Carolina's open. Of course, that's way down the list of things. Lost in all of this, and again, one reason I wanted to open with the Florida game, lost in all this were all the games that were played Saturday and Friday, and just incredible weekend of incredibly good rivalry games. All the favorites pretty much won, but watching Vandy beat the crap out of Tennessee was amazing. Watching Auburn almost beat Alabama and have a fumble at the end of the game we knew that was going to be a great game. There were just a lot of Michigan, Ohio State wasn't necessarily a great game at the end, but it was a snow game. I love snow games. But anyway, that was all lost, and the loss is that we have Alabama, Georgia again for the SEC championship. It'll be an interesting reveal tomorrow as well. We'll talk about that. We have our own reveal, of course, brought to you by Mark Gaida from Pepin. But let us get to number. I think I covered all the coaching changes so far. I think I got them all. But we're going to have 6 new coaches in the SEC. Think about that. All right, let's get to number 5, which we always love doing on our Royal Blue starting 5, which is our Steve and Christine Wendig from Boss Heart Realty. Present the Olympic Gator athlete of the weekend. We use this to be non-football and basketball, pretty much. Men's basketball, because those are the 2 big sports, of course, attendance-wise. And you know why we do it. These are Olympic sports that we like to talk about, and we're about to have a run on them because we're going to get a lot of people playing pretty soon. This is the time of year when you got, obviously, soccer's done, volleyball's still going. We'll talk about that in a minute. And women's basketball starting. But we're about to get gymnastics. Is not that far away from starting as well. In fact, they have a hype night coming up. We'll talk about that eventually. I think on the 15th, December 15th. Anyway, this is a long way of getting to our Steve and Christine Wendig present the Olympic athlete of the weekend. And it was, I know I'm going to use her name a lot, but she is pretty incredible. Liv McGill, anybody who watches her play is just amazed how good she is. And if they can get the pieces, Shaq's daughter's doing really good now too, and Layla Reynolds, they got some pieces. Whether they can make that translate in the SEC, we'll see. But they are now 8-1, and Liv McGill was the most outstanding player of the tournament that was down in the Grand Caymans, and certainly was I don't think there was another choice. They won both their games, and she went for 27 and 27. So both games with 27 points, and certainly a great game. They play again next Thursday, in case you're wondering, Thursday at Virginia Tech. It's a 5 o'clock game, and it's on ESPN too. So you can watch her play. Watch her play. Give me a ring and tell me if you don't think she's maybe one of the best players that's ever played at Florida. We'll see. I mean, she's got to stay healthy, right? I think she's missed 2 games with injuries. All right. Let us take a break. When we do come back, we will come back with the HBC. He'll talk about a lot of things. Boy, there's a lot to talk about. And he will talk about a lot of them. And then, of course, we'll have Robbie for Yes, No, Where, Maybe. And then all of our good stuff that we love to do. In the third segment, this is another duly noted podcast presented by Titan MRI and Imaging, coming to you from the Meldon Law Gator Studios here at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill.
Meldon Law has been serving personal injury victims since 1971. In those days, Jeffrey Meldon's presence as an attorney in the music scene dubbed him with the nickname the Hippie Attorney. And although times have changed, 2 things haven't. Our commitment to bettering our community by helping the injured.
Albert, are you ready to go to the game?
And our love for the Florida Gators.
If you bleed orange and blue, Meldon Law is the firm for you.
At Royal Blue, we believe our resumes as yacht brokers consist of not only the type of boats we list, but also the condition of those boats as well. If you see a boat listed as a sale with Royal Blue Yacht Sales, you can have faith that it will be very well kept and in extremely good condition. Passionate about delivering exceptional boating experiences in Florida, Royal Blue excels in tailoring boat buying for selling solutions to fit your needs. With 15 years in prior boat sales experience and over $65 million in sales, Royal Blue is devoted to making your boat ownership a dream reality. Call us today to schedule a consultation to see what Royal Blue can do to solve all of your boating needs. Call Randy at 850-974-1294. Hey Gator fans, the holidays are here, and you know what that means. Great food everywhere. Pies, cookies, all the food we just can't resist. But here's the thing, you don't have to give it all up to lose weight and be healthy this holiday season. BMI TeleMed can help you enjoy the holidays and keep your weight on track. Their medical weight loss program gives you the medication and the support and the guidance you need. You can still enjoy the holiday food, you'll just eat less of it, so you can actually lose weight and not add the pounds most of us do this time of year. Start the new year ahead of the game. Visit our friends and Gator alums, Charlie Gonzalez and Bob Parado, at bmitelemed.com to learn more. That's BMI TeleMed, achieve and maintain. Okay, welcome back to another duly noted podcast presented by Titan MRI and Imaging, coming to you from the Meldon Law Gator Studios. It is a Meldon Monday. Coach Spurrier is here, and of course he is sponsored by Meldon Law. They won't back down. And Coach, we got plenty to talk about today.
Yeah, we got a lot to talk about. First of all, the Gators go out winners.
Yes.
The Jaden Baugh game
That made me very happy.
was a heck of a game. Jaden rushed for, 200 and something yards? Or what was it?
266.
266. So, yeah, everybody's saying, why didn't we give it to him more earlier? But he got a lot of carries in this game, and our defense
38.
played well. Yeah. So it was a good win.
I think the record is Eric Rett playing for you in that Georgia game was 42. I think that's the most a
43.
Florida player's ever.
Okay, I thought Fred Taylor in the Citrus Bowl might have had
I thought he
40.
had like 47, yeah.
He had a bunch,
But
42 or 3, I thought.
Hey, everything I read on the internet is wrong.
Okay.
I know that.
But anyway, yeah, those were 2 games. They had a whole bunch of carries, I remember. But anyway, we go out a winner, and pat on the back to Billy Gonzalez. You know, he's
Yep.
0-4. Looked like people say, well, he's going to go 0-5. But he got the guys ready to play, and when we had nothing to play for except pride, play for the University of Florida, play for the fans who showed up. I thought a pretty daggum good crowd for the season we were having. And senior day, Billy Gonzalez was out there shaking hands, hugging all the senior guys. So I thought he did an admirable job as the interim coach those last 5 games.
Yeah, it's hard to imagine. I can't explain how a team could play so hard against Georgia, then the next week just take the day off, not even play against Kentucky which
game.
is literally the worst loss Florida had in that whole
year.
4 years, to be honest with you. Then come back and play their butts off against Ole Miss, then not show up in the first half against Tennessee, and then come out and dominate FSU. That's college football,
Yeah.
I guess. It's dealing with 19 to 22-year-olds, which you did all your career, and it's hard to kind of know whether they're ready to play. And you do everything you can, but certainly they were ready to play this game, and they came out and they played. I thought they set the tone on the first defensive series when they went backwards on the FSU went backwards. So
Yeah, FSU, they've got some issues up there. They got a coach they can't get rid of because they don't have the money to let him go. And so that's where they're at. Fortunately, we had enough money to pay our guy off, I guess.
Yeah.
And,
Well, they didn't get into as bad a contract as they did, but
that's true.
But anytime you beat FSU in anything, it's a good day, you know. And I enjoyed it. I enjoyed watching the game for once, and it was fun to do some writing afterwards. I'm usually sitting there going, how am I gonna write this one, you know?
Yeah, and I hope the Gators all get behind our new coach,
Yes.
John Sumrall. He's got a nice track record the last 4 years. He's a winner. He took Troy. I forget exactly the record, and then
They won 2 conference championships. Yeah.
And then Tulane is playing for another conference
Friday night,
championship.
yeah.
I think they lost championship last year, but consistent winner, 9-2, 10-3, 3, something like that, in his 4 years, I think, as a head coach. And he'll bring some more energy and excitement to that sideline. I mean,
which we've been lacking.
Yeah, I agree. I thought somebody down there needs to get mad occasionally or give a rah-rah. And I think John Summerall will bring that energy that maybe we've been missing a little bit.
Yeah, it's interesting that he everybody's going to make the comparison to Billy Napier, and I keep going, they're different people. They're different.
That's right.
Everything is different about it. And I don't know. I never got the impression you were that big on Lane Kiffin in the first place, that you were like.
Well, he was the hot shot. He was the hot coach. I think we had to make an effort at him to see what happened. And as it worked out, he's going to LSU, which, like somebody said, it's not like John Summerall coming from Tulane to Florida. He's on the way up. That's a given. He's going to coach his team in the playoffs. But Lane Kiffin, Ole Miss, and LSU, Ole Miss says, we're just as good as LSU. Why would you go there? And,
no, they hate each other. They're rivals.
They're big rivals. And I think Ole Miss said, we'll match the money, wherever the money is, for you to stay. But Lane felt like he wanted to go down there. And now it's really getting messy if a whole bunch of his coaches go with him, especially Charlie Weiss Jr. I don't know what he's going to do, but he's the play caller, really.
Oh, he is, yeah.
Kiffin will jump in occasionally and call the plays, but Charlie Weiss Jr. is the play caller there. A lot of people don't know that.
Everybody's got an opinion on who was wrong here to take Ole Miss away, to not let him coach in that. My opinion is very strong in that there's no way I would let him coach my team.
Because it was a lateral move.
Yeah.
But that's like the Tulane AD. He's not going to tell John Summerall you can't coach in the playoffs, and because it really is a different situation. I think everybody realizes that. In fact, Billy Napier actually had a championship game.
He did.
After we hired him. So, but it looked like a lateral move for Lane Kiffin to go to LSU.
Yeah, if the money's the same, it is a lateral move.
It's a lateral move, and why did he leave? But that's his prerogative, and it's a done deal now.
Yeah, it's not a worry. But, I think John Summerall is going to be the breath of fresh air that I think Florida needs. Now, again, look, there's a million things that went on in this coaching search. 90% of them are false, as we know. Everybody needs to stay off the internet. But I am having to talk a lot of people off ledges, and I think, again, as you know, Steve, the loudest people are the ones who weigh in on everything. It's not the people who go, I think this is a pretty good hire. They don't call any talk shows.
I want to say this. I don't know if Gator Nation knows it. Danny Warfel was somewhat involved in this search. Danny Warfel was involved. If he's involved, it's a good deal. Danny Warfel and Tim Tebow are two of the almost perfect Christian young men you'll ever know. And so if Danny really liked this guy, he's got to be a solid person, that's for sure.
And Urban came out, and Urban called him, actually. I talked to Urban a little bit about it. He said, I think he's really interested. So, and look, Auburn offered him. Kentucky would have offered him. They might have waited too long.
Yeah, I think he had a chance to go to Auburn. I'm not sure, but they were really talking to him. And then Ole Miss, I think, wanted to talk to him after Kiffin left. But anyway, we got him.
Have you talked to him yet? Or
I talked to him yesterday.
Did you?
Yeah. Scott Strickland called me up, said, here's his number. And I called him, and he answered right away, hey, Coach, how you doing? And I asked him if I'd ever met him before, and he said, well, sort of, blah, blah, blah. But he played at Kentucky, but he was there when I was in the NFL, I guess.
That's right, yeah.
01 through 04 and so forth. But he's a down-to-earth guy. He's a good guy, family guy and all that, and he will bring fire and excitement. I think he's a guy that hates losing, I'd like to see guys, if they get big, it hurts. And I think he'll be that type of guy.
Because believe me, the Gator Nation takes every loss personally. So you better take it personally too.
Heck yeah, you got to. My opinion.
I know you were miserable after.
Well, the great coaches, the coaches that win a lot, it's not that they love winning; it's that they hate losing.
Yeah.
Urban Meyer. Remember when he had to walk off the field after a loss? Golly.
Oh.
And
he cried after the LSU game.
Yeah, that was one reason he he hung it up. It's just the emotion of losing just tore him up.
Yep.
And,
I remember after they lost, they'd beaten the crap out of Kentucky. He thought he had it all figured out the first year he was here, and he went to Alabama, and I think they lost 31-3. And Urban, like the look on his face was, I mean, he was just washed out. And he had put everything into it, and and that happens sometimes. You mentioned that 45-3 game against Tennessee. I mean, those things happen, and you don't like them, but you got to get better.
Yeah, well, fortunately, that only happened once.
Yeah.
And that was our only loss in SEC play in 2 years.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, what happened? It got out of hand. Interception, kickoff return.
Yep.
Next, it was 7-3 at half. And then
Second,
all of a sudden,
Dale Carter running
28-3,
back, yeah.
35-3, and they ran it on up to 45-3. And but in a way, losing big helped us because Alabama came in there and beat them next week in Knoxville, 9-6, and that's why we won the SEC.
right.
We only had one loss; they had a loss and a tie.
Well, let's
So,
talk a little more about John Summerall because he is a guy that
Mm-hmm.
obviously is going to coach through there as far as they go.
Yeah.
Which, again, like you said,
Yeah,
is
and that's to be admired.
Yeah.
And his Tulane administration, they said, "Yeah, stay here with us all the way through." They understand.
But you are right. Tulane and Ole Miss are not the same animal.
No.
Yeah, they're not. They're not the same animal.
I
But
think Ole Miss looks at it as Kiffin as a lateral move.
Yeah.
Everybody knows Tulane to Florida. Now, you can't blame the coach for doing that. Certainly.
it is going to be. It is fascinating to me though that now we have 6 new SEC coaches, at least. That's what we've got now that are going to be coming with the Stoops issue. But I mean, I didn't think anybody get fired this year, but everybody is so freaking out about the money and about getting into the playoff. If you're not winning, we're putting the money towards these players. You're asking us for millions of dollars to put towards the players. We're demanding a change. And I think the boosters have an amazing amount of power. I'm not saying they have any more power or any power here, but they have power.
Yeah. And that's true at most all the SEC
Yep,
schools.
yep,
Even
oh, yeah.
Vanderbilt.
Yeah.
That team didn't just show up overnight. They went out and spent some money and got the coaches too. Jerry Kill and the other coach from New Mexico State.
Right.
And I tell you what, I hope Vandy makes the 12-team playoff. I really do, but it's all sort of screwed up.
Yeah.
And how about my Dukies?
Oh, I know.
They're 7-5, and
I'm gonna
they're
be rooting
in the
hard.
championship game. They got a chance to win the ACC championship, and they got 5 losses. Now, that's 3 of them were out of conference, and the 2 in conference somehow or another.
That was a
it worked out.
tiebreaker.
Yeah,
but they knew the rules of the
Yeah,
tiebreaker.
the rules say you're in the championship game against Virginia, and oddly enough, Virginia and Duke, we were actually co-champs. We both had 6-1 records back in 1989.
Yeah, yep.
So what's that? 36 years later,
Yep.
they're gonna fight it out for the ACC championship. One of them's gonna be champ again.
Well, and the funny thing is, if Duke wins, they still may not get in. They may not get any teams in. And
Because of
that's
the
a
record.
doomsday scenario. So we'll have
Yeah.
to see how that goes. But it's just
But it's
crazy.
a championship, and that's
Yeah.
that's
Oh,
what
yeah.
I love. We still have the championship game. Some people say we ought to do away with it. No, give the players and the teams something to play for. I mean, it's in the history book. Who won the championship all those years. So it's a big game for both Virginia and Duke. I'll probably watch it before I watch some of these other conference games.
And we have Georgia Alabama, the rematch for the 40th time. I mean, it seems like they play every year in the championship
Same
game.
2 teams, yeah.
Yeah.
At, all that NIL and all that transfer portal, Alabama and Georgia
Still end up
again.
with the same 2 teams.
Yeah.
That was an incredible game. That fumble late for Auburn
Mm-hmm.
killed them, and you knew they'd play them tough. That was a team I knew wouldn't quit because they hate Alabama so much.
I tell you, Alabama has made some 4th downs
Oh,
now
yeah.
that have really helped them. They beat Missouri by a touchdown. They were 3 for 3 on 4th downs in the 4th quarter also. A couple of those 4th downs go the other way.
Yep.
They'd be saying, fire DeBoer right now, fire DeBoer. And he's rumored for the Penn State job.
That's
You
what
know
I
that?
heard.
That
I know
was on the
Heupel's
radio.
been rumored. I'm like, everything has been rumored. You know, you can rumor everything. But again, I just want to reiterate that you guys have kind of shown your butts, the Gator fans, some Gator fans, over this last couple of days. let this guy come in and at least have his
Oh, yeah.
first press conference before you start and he'll win the press conference. Not that there is anything,
Yeah.
winning and losing a press
Yeah.
conference doesn't matter, but
Yeah, and his salary is what Power 5 schools make.
it's
right around
actually they got a discount compared to
Compared
what
to
they were
exactly,
going
yeah.
what they were going to pay Kiffin.
And so anyway, there's a lot of advantages, and all these coaches that are hot right now, their school redid them. Drinkowitz got another new deal, and so
Oh yeah, Clark Lee got a new
yeah.
deal.
everybody has to be a start-out coach before he became a great coach.
Yeah.
Okay, so we think John Sumrall is going to be a great coach here, and we're going to give him a chance.
I hope he is. Well, I thought Billy Napier was going to be a good coach. It didn't work out.
Well, I didn't know him beforehand. Did
Yeah.
you know him much before?
No, I just knew. I just knew what I read because I never met him. I never really spent any time with him when he was here the whole time.
Yeah, one of his comments about scared money don't make
yeah,
money.
yeah.
What's money got to do with
But
11
then he
guys?
didn't- then he didn't
11
coach
guys
that way.
against 11 guys. That's what I want to know. Not who, not the money thing, but my 11 are going to beat your 11.
Yeah.
Okay, and then go at it.
But you can't say spot the ball and then go out there and play the way they did. So, but it was it's been a weird 4 years, but that it's over, and this
over,
guy
yeah.
is coming, and John Sumrall, and I'm excited about it. To be honest with you, I'm not. I wanted Kiffin. Yeah, I did. I wanted Kiffin to come because I wanted to see your kind of offense, up and down the court,
I tell you,
the field.
let me tell you another thing. Did you watch the Mississippi State
I
game?
did. Yeah.
I felt sorry for Mississippi State. They played their hearts out. Ole Miss threw 4 touchdown passes. All 4 of them were against the guy playing bump and run, the fade or the takeoff route, whatever you want to call it. And Ole Miss got sort of a tall kid.
Yep.
And the Mississippi State DB, he all over him, but he just couldn't cover it.
Hey,
So
good
why
point.
don't you back off your DBs and say they're not going to throw that dang fade takeoff for another touchdown?
Yeah.
But they threw 4 of them on the same coverage.
Same play. Yeah, same.
I'm sitting there watching on TV, bump and run. Here comes the takeoff. Oh, bump and run there. There it goes. And that quarterback's good. Trinidad, Chambliss.
He is.
Oh, he threw perfect balls to these guys. It was unbelievable.
Well, he's appealing to get
Yeah.
another year. Well, I think he wants a 9th year or whatever it
He
is.
may get it.
And if he gets it, he'll probably be at LSU.
Well, I guess that's a possibility.
Yeah, I mean, who knows?
We'll
Because
see,
they have a freshman quarterback who started this last game and couldn't do anything. But college football is in a weird place right now. You got to.
Ole Miss, they may want to make Charlie Weiss Jr. the head coach if he's the offensive play caller and so forth, which he is. That may.
Well, they made
it may
Pete
keep,
Golding. I couldn't understand that.
Trinidad there.
Yeah, I guess maybe because Weiss left, but he got on the plane. So
He got who did Weiss?
Charlie Weiss, Jr.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens. Hey, one thing we do need to get to, and that is our Campus USA play of the weekend, and we'll take it all the way back to where we started this segment, and that is our man Jaden Ball, who this was his last carry of the game. And, could go down. No, he's going to go in for a touchdown. And to me, that was the moment where I just went, I cannot believe what I just saw in this game. Remember, he had just scored, and it got called back. And then they were able to that guy could have had him, that guy could have had him, that guy could have had him.
That play is the old toss sweep.
It is,
And
yeah.
they're doing it out of the gun, but they're blocking it like Eric Redd
Yep.
and Fred Taylor and
Fred
all
Taylor,
those guys.
yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
it. They didn't block everybody. It was mostly the run.
Yeah.
But we'd get up there and check it one side to the other. If they got more guys over here, run it the other way.
Right. I would love to. And maybe I'll do it later today. And I'm going to go and chart how many yards after contact Jaden Ball had in that game.
Yeah.
That was a guy who had a lot of want to, and I love that in him. And that should be priority number one, is making sure he's coming back next year.
Yeah, he certainly deserved the game ball, and I'm sure that they probably gave him one in the locker room after the game. So, hopefully
he had it
he'll
with
be
him.
back. Yeah, did he? Yeah. Graham Smile, he's He's one of the Miles Graham is
Miles
one of the
Graham.
leaders on defense, and
He's been great, yeah.
we need him back also. He had a good year over there for us.
He did. I thought he played really well in that
Miles
game
Graham.
again. So, all right, Coach, you got anything else?
Oh, I think that's about it. We talked about Vandy hopefully making the
Yeah.
playoffs. It's
Boy, that surprised me how they just destroyed Tennessee.
I really think if they played Vandy, they would beat Oklahoma. Vandy would beat Oklahoma.
Yeah.
What do you think? Because Vandy can score, man. They scored 45 on Tennessee up there.
You and I both
got
have
11.
Heisman votes, and I mean, Pavia's going on my
Pavia's right
ballot
there.
somewhere. Yeah, I
Yeah,
don't know
he-
where
he
yet.
is right
but-
there.
And I
So,
can't say. We're not allowed to say. But all right, Coach, we'll let you go.
All right.
Always have a good time with Coach. Brought to you by Meldon Law. We'll be back with more of another duly noted right after this break.
Titan MRI, North Central Florida's premier independent diagnostic testing MRI facility. At Titan MRI, we're focused on you, the patient, having a great customer experience. Our MRI equipment is modern and 75% quieter than any unit in its class. And our MRI unit has one of the largest openings of any of the newer high-strength MRI units, which allows comfortable scanning for potential claustrophobic and larger patients. At Titan MRI, we look forward to serving you.
Adams Rib Company has been a staple of Gainesville for more than a decade and a staple of the Dooley house ever since Kelsey's teeth came in. The first time I walked into Adams, I told my daughter that the green beans are always a test of a great barbecue restaurant, and they were perfect. You know about the ribs that melt in your mouth, and my favorite, the turkey plate. But be sure to go in on Fridays for Nana's Fish Nuggets. They will melt in your mouth. Adams Rib Co., a Gainesville great.
Coach, you know, it always impressed me how you beat Florida State to win the 1996 national championship.
And I was really impressed with your 06, 08, and 09 Gator teams.
And the way you coached Danny to the Heisman Trophy.
A lot like what you did with Tim Tebow.
You know, you won more SEC championships than you lost home games at the Swamp.
And you had plenty of super games in front of our Gator Nation.
Yeah, there really is something special about the Swamp.
I guess that's why we say about the Swamp, only the Gators get out alive.
To the Swamp and the Gators, with the best beverage served at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill, 100% agave Los Landeros tequila, aged in bourbon barrels for a smoother taste.
I think you mean head beer coach, 1966 lager, a crisp, light, bodied lager for easy drinking.
Nope. Los Landeros tequila, smooth enough to drink neat and bold enough to elevate a cocktail.
1966 lager, enjoyed on game days in the fall or whenever you need a winning cold brew.
Los Landeros tequila.
1966 lager,
Los Landeros.
1966 lager.
Y'all stop bickering.
Okay, you're both wrong anyway. The best thing Spurrier's Gridiron Grill offers are Jerry's famous chocolate chip cookies.
Okay, welcome back to another duly noted podcast presented by Titan MRI and Imaging, coming to you from the Meldon Law Gator Studios. It is time for us to go to our Big Mills Cheesesteaks Zoom line and bring in the great Robbie Andrew for another edition of Yes, No Way, or Maybe. Robbie, did you enjoy the game Saturday?
Yeah, I loved it. We sat home and watched it. It was really a lot of fun. Totally unexpected result. I wasn't feeling good going into that game.
No, I wasn't either. And you know, I thought they set the tone right away, that first series, you know, and they said,
Yeah, even the first play, Pat, you know,
Yeah.
nailing for a loss. It was like they'd come to play after they'd kind of given up in that Tennessee game.
you know, I said this to somebody, that FSU is Florida with an easier schedule. And then somebody countered and they go, well, they beat Alabama. I go, yeah, Florida beat Texas. Come on, they're those, the same teams. They're not that different. But I mean, they're bad, is what I was trying to say.
Yeah. But the difference in competition is incredible when you look at who Florida played compared to FSU.
Oh yeah.
I mean, so Florida was toughened up and ready to play in that game.
I think there was a little checkout on the FSU sideline. I mean, they've already been told they're so bad that they're going to redo the roster again next year. So, you know,
I know. Coaches are going to be shipped off. It's a mess up there.
it is. All right, let's get to our yes, no, where, maybe brought to you by Big Mills Cheesesteak. And, of course, it's street dining done the right way over there at Big Mills Cheesesteak. Go there and get any kind of food you want because they've got a lot of options for you, and the food is delish. And if you mention the podcast, another Dooley Noted podcast, you get free French fries with your order. Free French fries. I sounded like Bill Van Martyr a little bit there.
Ham sandwich.
Ham sandwich. All right, let's get to Yes, Nowhere, maybe with the Robbie Andrew. Robbie, number one, Gator fans need to get over Lane Kiffin.
Yeah, they do, Pat. And, we talked about this last week, that Gator fans were enamored with Lane Kiffin. He was going to come. They were all convinced of that. And we talked about how if he didn't come, certain fans are going to be outraged and blame Strickland and say what a mess it is. And, and here we are. We've got a bunch of negative people out there spewing all kinds of crap. And, you look at the national media, they all consider this a good hire. If you look at the national people, it's a good hire, potentially a great hire. But you look at these disgruntled Florida fans, it's like the end of the world. They need to get over it and get behind their guy.
Yeah, I mean, I think ESPN graded the coaching hires, which is kind of crazy. But you never know how a coach is going to work out. And I think they gave it an A-, whatever. I mean, or B+. B+ it was, which is fine. Hey, and who knows if that's right or wrong, or, I mean, I'm sure you gave Billy Napier a B+, too.
Yeah. Like in any coaching change, time will tell what happens. But in the meantime, get behind your coach and, don't be all this negative stuff, and don't let him come down here and have people, turn their back on him and saying what a weak hire it is and blaming Strickland. They did not mess up the Lane Kiffin thing, okay? Kiffin wasn't coming. It's not a Strickland hire. It's a UF hire. They interviewed a bunch of people, vetted a bunch of people. It was a nationwide search. Summerall was way at the top of the list. And when Kiffin obviously turned into Kiffin again, they went with the second choice, which I think is a good move. And I think we've seen in the last few days that the Kiffin is just the old Kiffin. He's into one person himself. And, I mean, that's all there is to it. Do you want that in your program?
Karma will get him again. It always gets him, and then everybody's mad at him for something. But I don't know. My hatred for LSU. My hatred for LSU was at a very high level already, and now it's gone through the roof.
Yeah, and he's not going to have any loyalty to LSU. Pat, if the Alabama job comes open or an NFL job comes open, there he goes again.
Well, NFL jobs will come open. So let's just say he goes 11-2, 2 years in a row there, and all of a sudden I'm just trying to think of a job he'd be really enamored, and that's could be the Chiefs. Andy Reid's going to leave at some point,
exactly.
And they're going to want to get. And boom, he's gone in a heartbeat.
But you know what Florida fans have just completely overlooked, Pat? That a year ago, Billy Napier beat Kiffin, and Kiffin had a team that was loaded with NFL talent.
Yeah.
Billy Napier beat him in the swamp. And you look at Kiffin's record, what big games he won? He's never won a title of any kind. So he's a great offensive coach. He wins a bunch of games, but he's never won a championship of any kind.
Now, you and I need to get over Lane Kiffin, too. Okay.
Yeah, that is true.
We'll get over him. We will try not to mention
believe
his
me,
name.
we will. We will, no problem.
All right, number two on Yes, Nowhere, maybe Kentucky waited too long to fire Mark Stoops, which they did today. Of course, he played at Kentucky.
Yeah, well, Pat, as an outsider, you say, they waited too long. But if you're Kentucky, Mark Stoops is the winningest coach in the program's history. He's done a lot of great things for Kentucky. He's a good guy. You let him play out his season and then make a move. And I think Kentucky did the right thing by that. They missed on Summerall, but I think they'll come up with somebody good. But I think they treated him the way he needed to be treated because, Stoops is a good guy. And
that's a good point.
Hey, why not make him the defensive coordinator at Florida? I wouldn't mind that.
I hadn't thought of that one. That's a good one.
Why not, Pat?
It's the first time since '98 that Stoops isn't a head coach.
That's pretty amazing. What a family tradition there.
You got me thinking. Yeah. All right. Let's see if that happens. But I think that's a great point that you made. And I do think that the way they finished the season, that terrible loss to Vanderbilt and then getting smoked by Louisville, that kind of made it easier. And nobody was going to say, I can't believe you got rid of him. the fact that obviously Sumrall is coming to Florida and he played there, if he had a choice between Kentucky and Florida, he still would have taken Florida, even though he has a tie to Kentucky.
I think you're right.
I
agree. I agree 100%.
So we'll see. All right. Finally, number 3 on yes, no way, or maybe. Robbie, if your next dog might be named Jaden.
I'm going to say maybe on that, Pat. Just run the ball, baby. That was an incredible performance. I enjoyed watching that. And the thing with him is, like we talked, he is like the face of the program right now. Even though there were games when he didn't get a lot of carries, every time he ran the ball, it was hard, and he got the most yards he could. Never complained about it, it didn't seem like. And when they gave him the ball, he made the most of it the other night. And what a great way for him to end his incredible season for him. And, that's going to be a priority for the new coach, keeping this guy on the roster and a big part of this program.
I may do this afternoon. I may watch the game over again, just his carries, because I'm curious. I call it the YAS, not YAC.
Yeah.
Yards after semis. So after he hit a semi, how many yards did he get? Because semis is Coach Spurrier's name for Knowles, because he would never say Knowles. But
those guys are bounced off him left and right.
Yeah, so I may do that when I get home. I don't know what I'll do with it. I'll just throw it out there on Twitter, I guess, or something.
Well, send it to me. I'll be interested.
Okay, I'll do it. I'll work on it. All right, Robert Ray Andrew, appreciate you.
Okay, Pat, get behind your new coach. That's my advice.
Okay. All right, my man. See ya.
Okay.
Well, thanks to Robbie for coming on. We always love when he's on Mondays. And, I've been talking to my wife about this. I haven't talked to Robbie about it yet, but I'm going to talk to him about maybe reviving the Swampcast that we used to do when we were at the paper together. And maybe after games next year for Patreon, we could do it very easily. Just doing it on a phone. I'll go over to his house, we'll do a quick Swampcast about the Gator game. It's an idea. It's a thought. I know people loved it. They used to love logging on. Anyway, all right, let's get to our Adams Rib Co. Gator of the weekend, brought to you by our good friends at Adams Rib Co. Michelle and, of course, Adam do a great job over there with anything you need, man. It is a place to go, and especially Fridays. Nana's Nuggets, they're the best. All right, our Gator of the weekend, I'm sorry, there's nobody else I could give it to, man. Jaden Ball, what he did, he made Gators feel good. For one night, they could just put all the crap behind them of this terrible season and these terrible 4 years and the Kiffin news and all that. They were able to put it all behind them and just cheer like heck and know that this guy was giving every last ounce that he had. It was coursing through his veins. Jaden Ball, I cannot ignore you. I cannot put another Gator in there. You are our Gator of the weekend. Again, it's a standing offer. If you're a Gator of the week or a Gator of the weekend, I will buy you lunch at Adams. Just let me know. I'll be there. Happy to do it. I don't know if any of the players actually listen to this podcast, but they should. All right, let's get to our Leonardo's at Millhopper quick pick. Kyle Cohen does such a great job over at Leonardo's of Millhopper. I did finally get everything to the people. One of them got returned. Carlos Valdez won the. He got the. I sent him 2 hats actually. I signed one and not the other, so he could have one just to wear. Anyway, and I've got some more hats, and we got some Patrick Young books. So, and of course, $25 at Leonardo. So we're going to try to do a little bit more of that. And we're not that far away from doing another pull, maybe a couple more weeks before we get to that. And we'll talk, too, about our Mark Gaida Pepin Realty contest, too, coming up. But first, let's get back to Leonardo's at Millhopper. Quick pick, and this is a game that I was curious about the spread. When I saw it, I go, yeah, that's about right. Tuesday night, Florida at Duke. And men's basketball, just so you don't get confused, because Duke's got a pretty good women's team. No, they got a really good men's team. They're probably the best team in the country. Florida's going up to Cameron to play there. Not going to be easy. The Gators are 9.5-point underdogs. So you get almost 10 points, 9.5 points. Look, it's high because they want you to bet on Florida, and then they want you to bet on Duke. We know how it works, but 9.5 points. So it's very simple. You just send it in to patrickdooley54@gmail.com. That's my email address if you want to get a pick in and qualify. I actually have to go. That's another thing I have to do when I get home today and see how many people qualified 1, 2, and 3 times. I saw them all come in, but I need to get on that. But all you got to do is say Florida or Duke. If you're Florida, you're getting 9.5 points. If you're Duke, you're losing 9.5 points. You win by 8, you lose. All right. That's our Leonardo's at Millhopper quick pick. That's Tuesday night, by the way. And if it's not in by Tuesday night, you can't get in. Also, I did want to mention this. We do have another slot open. We just came open for our for advertising here on the podcast, and we got a couple people that have interest, seem to have interest. We're just trying to see whether they do it. It's like a coaching search, you know. Well, they think they're going to do it, but then they decide not to do it. But anyway, if you want, that's patrickdooley54@gmail.com. I'm sorry that I ask for this all the time or reach out to people, but I'm just trying to make sure that, everybody's okay. All right, let us move along to our BMI TeleMed Overachiever of the weekend. And, of course, BMI TeleMed, your weight loss specialist, they do a great job. Achieve and maintain with BMI TeleMed, 727-383-1677. They are a great, and so many people have lost so much weight doing this. And I want to get new numbers from Charles. Maybe he can send them to me. Of the number of people who have gotten on board, and I'm one of them, of course, and have gotten on board to and lost weight. I was well over 500 pounds before. Let's see how much it is now. I'll get a new number from them. Our overachiever of the weekend is, and I'm sticking with football a lot here today because I had a fun time Saturday night. Ben Hanks III is our overachiever of the weekend. The reason is, don't forget, Ben Hanks had barely played this year. And, of course, they were going to redshirt him. Physically, he needs to develop a little bit. If he develops like his dad did, he will be an elite player. But Ben Hanks III, he only played in the Mississippi State game. He had 5 tackles in that game. And, again, they were at a point where they just had to play him. They had no choice. And then he didn't play except one other game. He played, I think, 1 play or something, 1 or 2 plays. Tennessee, that's what it was. And again, they had a lot of injuries. So he had very little experience in college football, and he's playing against an arch rival. And what does he do? He gets 2 tackles and an interception to end the game. As he's running down the field, I'm screaming his name really loud, thinking about what his dad was screaming. He's our overachiever only because he hadn't played hardly at all this year and had a nice game. And that was made everybody very, very happy. I will say that. All right, let's move along to our Gallo Car Wash Sponge of the weekend. Gallo Car Wash. My wife was just there this weekend, in fact. It's the place to go to get your car washed. They do a great job over there, and we have a sponge every week. 2 of them. We have one on Monday and one on Thursday. And today's sponge of the weekend was the Florida volleyball team because they soaked up another NCAA berth. Now, this was important. And, again, this team has struggled a little bit. We all know that. We've watched it. It's the first year for Ryan Tice, first year without Mary. Although we saw Mary if you watched the selection show last night, she was on there very, very good, of course. She's very good at everything she does. But it was still important for him. But again, they lost their best player. We all know that story. I don't want to mention it anymore. But it was important for him to get in. And they were going to get in. We kind of knew they were going to get in. But it was important to get in, play well enough to get in. And they got in. And they will be playing Rice in Dallas. So they get a trip to Dallas, too, out of it. That's a pretty good deal. Hopefully they stay at that, what is it? I can't think of the name, but there's a great hotel near Dooley Plaza, and it's got one of the best sports bars I've ever been in. Anyway, they're not going to take suggestions from me. They play Rice. That is at 5:00 Friday. Now, this was important because Florida had a streak of 34 in a row going to the NCAA tournament. It's the third longest streak in the country, and you don't want it to end, okay? And it's important that it not end because it's important for recruiting and everything. We all know how important it is. So now it's 35 straight years. So Ryan and your volleyball team, who I've watched a lot of your matches this year, but you guys are close. You're so close. You need one player. Okay. Congratulations. You are our Gallo Car Wash sponge of the weekend. Okay, let us move along to Hesser and Kipke, 3 things. Brought to you by our good friends at Hesser and Kipke. For all your workers' compensation and family law needs, the only place to go is to Hesser and Kipke, 352-339-9920. Ken and I texting back and forth about Dave Caldwell, who, of course, was working under Howie Rosen at Philadelphia, and, you know, he's got an interest in him. And I did send him a text that said, man, when he was in Jacksonville, I remember him being a bum. And I didn't get any response, and now I realize why. He wasn't a bum at Jacksonville. It was the guy before him, Gene Smith, who would not – he drafted no NFL players for like SEC players from like a 4-year period when the SEC was dominating college football. Other than that, you know, it was crazy. Anyway, I got my GMs mixed up. I just want to say that out loud. So my point is that we talked a lot via text. All right, let's get to our 3 things. Number 1, this is going to be all NFL. I'm not going to talk NFL and I watched a lot of NFL yesterday, and it is big, of course, for a lot of people, but we have so much going on here college-wise. We got to stay with it. But here is where we're going to get our NFL fix with the 3 things from Hesser and Kipke. Number 1, Justin Herbert, left hand broke. He broke a bone in it. They're saying he's having a procedure. I call it surgery, but he's going to do this. And he's saying I think they play Monday night, big game Monday night against maybe the Eagles. I may be wrong about that, but he said he's going to be back and ready to play. We'll see. He's obviously going to be restricted, but it's not his throwing hand. It's his other hand, the left one, the other left. All right. That is number 1. Number 2 is we talked about a streak just a minute ago. Let's talk about another streak that is defunct, and I maybe should have asked Robbie Andrew about this. But the Vikings had a streak of 294 consecutive games scoring. And we occasionally talk about Florida's long streak of scoring in so many games in a row that goes back to 89. And we've been worried about it at times this year and a couple of years ago. Anyway, the point is their streak is kaput, finished. 294 straight games scoring at least 2 points. And this game they scored none. They got shut out by Seattle. Seattle's got a really good team. I tell you what, there's some – I don't even want to call them sneaky good teams because they're sneaky good for us who just are obsessed with college football. But I do watch a lot of NFL, and I listen to what those guys are saying. And there's some teams that have kind of come out of nowhere. I mean, New England being one of them, and then the Panthers certainly would be one. There's a lot of teams that it's going to be an interesting playoffs when we get to that, and we're not that far away from it. That's number 2, and number 3 is that Josh Allen did something that made me happy yesterday. He broke Cam Newton's record for most rushing touchdowns by a quarterback. Anytime Cam Newton's name gets scratched out, I'm happy. I got an issue with him. And there's some things that are better left unsaid, okay? All right, that is our Hesser and Kipke 3 things. Let's move along to our Los Landeros Tequila. Smooth move of the weekend. I was reading something else. Sorry about that. Los Landeros Tequila. Go beyond with Los Landeros. My favorite tequila, Urban Meyer's favorite tequila. I hope Urban is there today because I would love to say hi to him. So I haven't seen him in a while, a couple of months anyway. All right. So, of course, we had him on the podcast the other day. Our Los Landeros smooth move of the weekend, and it's smooth, and I guarantee you, and I don't know that he is a drinker or anything, but I could envision him with a Los Landeros tequila out there, and that was Tyreek Sapp, who after the game and after everybody had hugged and others, and sat out there in the middle of the field and just reflected on what he's been through in his career. He deserved better, no doubt about it. Some guys love being a Gator. And I think part of the problem for Florida is, and for everybody, is that the fans all love being a Gator. They're not going to be anything else. They're not going to quit. You can say they're going to quit. They can tell you they're divorcing him, but they're not. They're not going to quit. They're going to stay with Florida. They're not going to move up and say, I'm going to be a Georgia fan now. They're not going to do that, okay? They're not going to do it. But the bottom line is, not all the players feel that way. Tyreek Sapp's one of those guys that does. Played his heart out. Didn't always play great. Nobody does. Nobody plays great every down. But him sitting on that was smooth. I love that about him. All right, let's move along to I've been talking about this. Mark Gaida presents the 12, brought to you by Pepin Realty. We appreciate Pepin Realty for being part of this, and Mark Gaida for being part of it. And I'll get right to I'm not going to bury the lead because we have decided how we're going to do this exactly, and we are going to do what we talked about earlier. It's going to be $75 gift certificate to Steve Spurrier's Gridiron Grill. $75 will do you well here, believe me. And you will win it if you win our contest. And that will be, it's very simple, but it's very hard. Right? It's simple in that all you got to do is put down four numbers, five numbers. Put down four numbers, though, what you think will be, and you wait till tonight, after tonight's first reveal, but you have to have it in by Friday and the first game starts. We can't take it after that, okay? So you got a big window there to make your decision. But wait till after the reveal. But all you have to do is come up with the 4 teams that you think are going to be 5 through 8. I don't want to do 1 through 4 because everybody will know who it is once the reveal comes out tonight. And I don't want to do the bottom because it's too complicated. 5 through 8 is all I want to know. You got to put them in order. However many you get right, if you are the only person who gets them all right, you will win. If we have a tiebreaker, it goes to the number 9 team. Get that one right. And then after that, we are just going to pull it out of a hat, okay? But the bottom line is, guys, get in this contest. $75 at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill, and we appreciate Mark Gaida for being a part of it. Let's get to his 12, and that is, they're pretty much what you would expect. Number 1, Ohio State. Number 2, Indiana. Number 3, Georgia. I tell you what, I'm worried about Georgia. If I was a Georgia fan, I'd be worried about him. I'm worried about him as not a Georgia fan because I think if they get their momentum going and they win this game against Alabama, which I got a feeling they're gonna, they can't win it all again. With Gunnar Stockton, now I will say Gunnar Stockton's turned out to be really good. A&M 4. I think they're getting punished. They're going to get punished a lot more than I am punishing them for that one loss because they didn't play well in that last game. Number 5, Texas Tech. Number 6, Oregon. Number 7, the Ole Miss Rebels. I've got them dropped a little lower, I think, than they're going to have them. And I don't know. I'm going to be really curious to see where they end up because they don't have a coach. They don't have a head coach. He's gone. The guy who is responsible for getting them there is gone. That's a fact, Jack. Number 8, Notre Dame. We're going to have to put up with him. 9, Oklahoma. 10, Alabama. 11, Miami. Now, those are the 2 that are – somebody could get pushed out by – that'll be interesting if Miami gets in, but the ACC champ doesn't get in because it's Duke. And Duke goes 8-5, and it's not going to be in the highest rank. Oh, it's going to get interesting. A lot of drama there. So anyway, that's our by the way, North Texas is 12. I am picking North Texas, and now you're saying, why don't you said get behind the coach. Okay, I'm going to be rooting for Tulane, but Tulane is a 2.5-point underdog. North Texas has this prolific offense. You guys know the story. It's going to be fascinating to watch this game. I will say this. I watched the championship game that Billy Napier coached, and after the game I was like, well, I'm glad they won, but I'm not impressed. But okay, that was just a game. That was a championship game, and you just got to win the game, and that's what it's all about. Turned out he couldn't win those kind of games. I don't want to pick on him anymore, okay? All right. That is our Mark Gaida Presents the 12, brought to you by Pepin Realty. Let's get to our Learner Law Club Sport of the Week, and that is brought to you by Learner Law. It's the place to go for all your closing needs. Anytime you want to go and close on a house, it is the place to call and get that done. They will get it done for you and make it very easy for you. Appreciate Learner Law. Our club team of the weekend is the women's rugby team, which won the state title and finished 4th in the fall season in the regionals. So that was just completed a little while ago. They did have 10 players who went out for the tryout for the All-Star 7. So women's rugby is certainly our club team of the week, and we appreciate Lerner and Matt Lerner and Learner Law for doing a great job. I almost said Mark. Is it Mark? Is it Matt or Martin? It's Matt. It's M. Lerner. No, it's Matt Lerner from Learner Law. We appreciate him very much. All right, let's wrap it up as we always do with our Swamp Restaurant Games of the Week. It is brought to you by the Swamp Restaurant, where it's been crazy. I would love to have been at the Swamp Restaurant for that game on the last drive when Jaden Ball is just running over Knowles. I would have loved to have been there. That would have been fun. It's always fun at the Swamp Restaurant, I can tell you that much. All right, let's start off with Tuesday. Tuesday, there's a lot of basketball to watch. Florida Duke, we mentioned, is 7:30 on ESPN. Everything we're seeing, that used to be their little jingle. And then, if you want to stay up, if you're happy because Florida won that game, or you won the bet, UConn plays Kansas at 9 o'clock. That's on ESPN2. And then North Carolina at Kentucky at 9:30 on ESPN. Boy, there's a lot of good basketball on Tuesday night. Also that night on NBC, if you want to watch it, the Knicks are at the Celtics at 8 o'clock. And then the Thunder are at Golden State at 11. 11 on NBC. You gonna watch that? Yeah, I don't think so. I will try. Wednesday is signing day, early signing period. Going to be fascinating to see what happens there. I'm not even going to tell you where it is, but it's on somewhere on one of the ESPN channels, and it'll be on all day, and it'll be cut-ins on regular ESPN, and it'll probably be on ESPNU. I'm not going to pay any attention to it. It's a me thing. I just want to, at the end of the day, tell me who Florida's get. Do they hold on to guys? I know there's some guys that they're going to lose. That's what happens when you fire a coach. You know that. That's the risk you're willing to take. I'll just see what happens. And then Thursday, the NFL game, Dallas at Detroit. Good one, 8:15 on Prime. And that is pretty much our TV schedule for this week. Appreciate everybody. Appreciate Zach so much for doing a great job of dealing with me. And certainly Coach Spurrier and Robbie Andrew. We'll be back on Thursday with Dan Wetzel. Look forward to talking to him from ESPN. Until next time, everybody just be calm. It's going to be okay. Go support your coach. Make him feel welcome. He's your coach. You don't like it? I mean, I get it. I get people maybe don't get it. I think after this press conference, you're going to change your mind. We'll see. Maybe you don't. It's your call. All right. This has been another duly noted podcast presented by Titan MRI and Imaging, coming to you from the Meldon Law Gator Studios. We'll be back with another show on Thursday. Until then, I'm Pat Dooley. I'm deep, I'm way back, and I am out of here.